You're trying to find a Christmas story in the Bible, you can go to Matthew chapter 2 or Luke chapter 2. Luke 2 is the shepherds, Matthew 2 is the wise men. And so Christmas morning we always read through Luke chapter 2, 1 through 20 before we open up the Christmas presents. And I think the kids probably think that's the longest chapter in the Bible. And they're waiting, they're anxiously waiting for the presents to be opened. And then we always call Pastor Jesse over, my father-in-law, to come, and he's the official Christmas story reader until ultimately the baton will be passed on to me. And then sometimes he doesn't come quick enough, and they get twitchy on it. They're like, "Grandpa, where are you at? Come on, Grandpa. You got to open a present. Read the Christmas story." Matthew chapter 2, we're going to be looking today at the Magi, and we're going to be talking about the God of the odd. God does odd things. When Pastor was preaching, I came up with the name of, I'm terrible at naming sermons, but I finally, this one clicked for me while Pastor was preaching. He made the phrase about some of the odd things that God does. And I've used this concept a lot when people are talking about some kind of extraordinary thing in life. I'll often say it's not odd, it's God. You know, like your sister and all of a sudden the cancer's gone. That's not an odd thing, that's a God thing. You know, God does these unusual things that are really inexplicable in any other way of thinking. And so I was thinking about how that He's the God of the odd all the way to the Bible. I mean, when He was creating you, He made you out of dirt. You're sort of a mud boy, really, and God made you out of dirt. But we as preachers, as we are at a graveside, we talk about, ashes to ashes and dust to dust, because that's kind of what we go back to. And He does incredible things. I mean, in the Bible, you have God, for example, in one instance, He's talking to a false prophet by a donkey. Which I've always took heart from, because if God can use a donkey, He might be able to use me too. Sometimes I stutter and stammer a lot, lose my place, but if God can use a donkey, there is maybe hope for me. He used the runt of a family in Joseph, who was persecuted by his brothers, to literally save not only his family, but also the bulk of the world around him from famine that was coming. He uses Daniel and a lion's den, a fiery furnace. God uses a teenage boy with a sling to take down a giant when other professional soldiers are cowering. He's constantly doing these very odd things. He picks Gideon, the least of the smallest tribe. He's the least smallest family in the smallest tribe. Uses Gideon to bring about deliverance from the Midianites. He's constant. Abram and Sarah, they are the progenitors of the line of